Hello friends, in this lecture we will discuss about Weber's work on authority. So let us start now. Weber's sociological interest in the structure of authority were motivated at least in part by his political interests. Weber was no political radical. In fact, he was often called as bourgeoisie Marx to reflect the similarities in the intellectual interests of Marx and Weber as well as their very different political orientation. So Weber was not a political radical. In fact, he was often called as the bourgeoisie Marx. You have to remember this term. To reflect the similarities in the intellectual interest of Marx and Weber as well as their very different political orientations. Although Weber was critical of modern capitalism as Marx was, he did not advocate revolution. He wanted to change the society gradually and not overthrowing it. He had little faith in the ability of the masses to create a better society. Weber also saw little hope in the middle classes, which he felt dominated by short-sighted, petty bureaucrats. Weber was critical of the authoritarian political leaders like Bismarck. Nevertheless, for Weber, the hope, if indeed he had any hope, lay with great political leaders rather than masses or the middle class bureaucrats. Weber preferred democracy as a political form not because he believed in the masses but because it offered maximum dynamism and the best milieu to generate political leaders. Weber noted that authority structures exist in every social institution. According to Weber, authority is the legitimate form of domination. Three bases on which authority is made legitimate: rational, traditional, and charismatic. So now let us see the traditional authority. It is based on the belief in the sanctity of the age-old rules and power. For example, British royal family. Two types of traditional authority there: patriarchal and patrimonial. Patriarchal, mainly in the rural communities. Authority is held by village elders, those who are oldest and steeped in traditional wisdom and therefore most qualified. This is also referred to as gerontocracy. Power is exercised through staff we often lack specialized knowledge. Administrative staff, if it exists, is based on personal relations with the master. Second traditional authority is patrimonial. Here, authority is exercised through inheritance only. Rule of inheritance is certified by custom. Clear distinction between ruler and subject. Administrative staff consists of personal loyalty and favorites. There is no clearly defined limit on authority except what the customary rules define. No well-defined system of rewards for administrative staff, lacks a clear hierarchy. No regular system of appointment and promotion based on free contracts. Technical training not systematic. Traditional staffs lack offices with clearly defined sphere of competence. Second types of authority is charismatic authority. The concept of charisma plays an important role in the work of Weber, but his conception was very different from that held by most people today. According to Weber, if the disciples defines a leader as charismatic, then he or she is likely to be a charismatic leader irrespective of whether he or she actually possesses any outstanding traits. A charismatic leader then can be someone who is quite ordinary. What is crucial is the process by which such a leader is set apart from ordinary people and treated as if endowed with supernatural, superhuman, or at least exceptional powers or qualities that are not accessible to any ordinary person. Now, charisma and revolution. To Weber, charisma was a revolutionary force, one of the most important revolutionary forces in the social world. Whereas traditional authority clearly is inherently conservative, the rise of a charismatic leader may well pose as a threat to that system as well as to the rational legal system and lead to a dramatic change in that system. Charisma leads to changes in the minds of actors. It causes a subjective or internal reorientation. Such changes may lead to a radical alteration of central attitude and direction with completely new orientation of all attitude towards different problems of the world. According to Weber, charisma is an internal revolutionary force that changes the minds of actors rationally as an externally revolutionary force, changing the structure of the society first and then ultimately the thoughts and actions of individuals. Now, charismatic organizations and routinization of charisma. The staff members are not technically trained but are chosen instead of for their possession of charismatic quality or at least of qualities possessed by charismatic leaders. No clear hierarchy. The work doesn't constitute a career, no promotion, no clear appointments or dismissal. The charismatic leader is free to intervene the working of the staff. No formal rules, no established admin organs, no precedents to guide new judgment, no limit to authority, neither customary rules nor rational rules. Charismatic authority is by its very nature very unstable and short-lived. It rises in times of crisis and stays as long as crisis remains. Not suitable for day-to-day routine and ultimately changes either into rational legal or traditional routinization of charisma. In either case, either charismatic leader either fails or wins. For example, Churchill led Britain to Britain to World War II victory but lost election conducted after the war. Similarly, Hitler lost his charisma when he was defeated in World War II. Another major threat to charismatic authority is its successor, as charismatic leaders are very difficult to find. Generally, it is resolved through nomination. For example, Gandhi adopted Nehru as his successor. Third type of authority is legal rational authority. As the society undergoes change like industrialization, introduction of modern technology, planning, a need was felt for rational accounting procedures and universal legal system. This leads to the development of legal rational authority. The legal rational authority is goal rational action in institutionalized form. This authority is legal because authority is exercised by means of a system of rules and procedure, and it is rational because its means are scientifically and objectively designed to achieve certain specific goals. Weber developed an ideal type of model of legal rational authority and call it bureaucracy. We will cover bureaucracy in next lecture. It is clearly mentioned in UPSC syllabus. Okay, thank you very much.